Are you ready for the truth?
Bring it on!
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Do you want the whole truth?
I don't think you're ready.
Governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people.
It's Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Here comes truth.
Welcome back. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, probably on. Say it with me now. AFR Talk. Well, the news is that Syria, Assad, has agreed to allow, through Russia, the international community to take hold of their chemical weapons stockpiles through Vladimir Putin. What does this mean, and what is the impact not only for the security of the United States and the international community, if you will, with chemical weapons and the use of chemical weapons, but specifically for the Syrian people? We heard a lot about them in the sense of getting involved and defending people that were being used or getting impacted by these weapons, these heinous weapons, specifically the 1400. What does it mean? Well, let's go to our good friend. He is the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. He is also former U.S. commander in the U.S. Navy and author of A Battle for the Soul of Islam, an American Muslim patriot's fight to save his faith, Dr. Zhudi Jasser. Dr. Jasser, welcome back. How are you?
Great. It's good to be with you again. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Now, what does this mean for the Syrian people? Specifically, your parents immigrated here in the 1960s from Syria. You still have family in Syria? And yeah, tell me, what does this mean for them?
Yeah, all my aunts and uncles are still there in Damascus and on my dad's side in Aleppo. And, we communicate readily, frequently with them. And the entire country is participating in this revolution. This is not just 5,000 to 10,000 Al-Qaeda, as the narrative has been going here. But over the last 29 months, slowly you've seen more and more of the country. It started urban, then it went, after a year and a half, it went to the big towns in Damascus and Aleppo. And now they've basically sacrificed everything in order to change their government. And they're seeing what they thought was the leaders of the free world evolve into a political dynamic in which there is no political solution. This is a military solution only. And, they have for long not wanted either the fascism of Assad and his Iranian friends or Al-Qaeda or radical groups. And per the dictator playbook, Assad let in Al-Qaeda from abroad, let the Al-Qaeda out of the prisons, and has, through pummeling neighborhoods, releasing chemical weapons, has radicalized the community and basically left it a nuclear winter, if you will, in which the environment fosters radical jihadists, and they're looking for a way out of this. And now you find that, initially they thought, well, maybe the cavalry of bombs was coming. They don't need boots on the ground there. They've got people fighting, and they don't need soldiers. Well, what they do need is air cover. They need no-fly zones, and that was something we could have provided, but this president seems to be driving by the seat of his pants here and doesn't really know what the next, nobody knows how the policy is going to change next. And now all of a sudden we're saying the UN inspectors, which were 4 miles away from the chemical attack when it happened, sitting drinking Arabic coffee in the Four Seasons, and now they're supposed to be the ones that are going to make sure that this chemical weapons are controlled by international community. I mean, we're being played for fools by Russia, which still is basically in a competition against America in a Cold War 2.0, and also by Iran, which has, starting to realize that we deal with appeasement, and I think we're going to find ourselves in a bigger conflict over the next many years with Iran.
And that shifts it to Iran. Interestingly enough, I was just looking at the many views that you have, many perspectives you have. You have the military perspective. You have the perspective of being an American with family in Syria. You have the perspective of being a moderate Muslim and fighting against not only the fundamental Islam, political Islam as we know it, and changing that and getting your organization recognized as it should be in the proper place with the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. But you're fighting that battle. You write about it in the Battle for the Soul of Islam, and yet we take all those perspectives and then we just look at the result. And I cut to the result as just the reality. The reality is Assad's staying. He just got another armament from his friend Putin. Imagine that. The chief supplier for the Assad regime gets another gift from Putin, who said, no, they don't have them. Assad said they didn't have chemical weapons, but he gets another, not chemical weapons per se, but weapons. And you are talking and representing in the sense of representing, standing up and being a voice for the moderates who are fighting for their lives right now. And we've had the debate, as you stated, Dr. Jasser, they're being lumped in with a bunch of terrorists. And you're saying, no, there's a third option. So this impacts on so many levels. Are you, tell me something, would your main response be, well, if you really want to know the consequences worldwide, this means Iran gets a nuclear weapon, period?
I mean, that's the American interest here. Nobody's saying that America needs to get involved in every civil war. But the president's trying to make up for 29 months of being on the Gulf course, ignoring Syria, not educating the American people about what's happening. 2 months ago, a poll showed 65% of America did not know where Syria is on a map. And yet now, when he uses chemical weapons, rather than prepare America and have a vision for the Middle East, we're trying to engage a bipartisan, coalition in something where we're just not ready, being war-weary after Afghanistan and Iraq. And yet the American interests are clear. If it was a civil war, fine, let them fight it out and see who wins, and let's arm the good guys, which we haven't done. But
Right.
This is not a civil war. This is the doctrine of Darwin. And we see Iran and Russia making this into a proxy war for their influence in Syria. And in the meantime, the good guys are looking at us saying, what happened to you? Why aren't you helping? If you see where the moderate Muslims, Al-Qaeda is thriving, where Russia and Iran and Hezbollah thrive, and the jihadists are basically the only ones winning here, and the good guys are finding themselves hopeless with nowhere to go, and we're abandoning them.
And that is the consequence. If you want to learn more about Dr. Jasser, you can go to his Twitter feed, @Dr. Zhudi Jasser, and you can check out American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Certainly read his book, Author for the Battle of the Soul of Islam, an American Muslim Patriot's Fight to Save His Faith. Dr. Jasser, thank you for making time. Great to be with you.